amazing. We are so fortunate to be in this beautiful facility where we are exposed to a variety of cultural experiences. It's amazing to think that Indigenous people have been gathering in this area for 10,000 years or more, having similar experiences. We celebrate this important part of our history with our statement of acknowledgement and respect. The City of Medicine Hat and the Medicine Hat Concert Band Society acknowledge that we live and work on treaty territory. We are in the traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy. The people of this Treaty 7 region signed at Blackfoot Crossing in 1877 and consist of 3 First Nations: Kainai or Blood, Hakani or Pagan, Siksika or Blackfoot. Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta also includes the Tsuut'ina or Sarcee and Stoney Nakoda First Nations. We acknowledge and honor that we also are on the land and the homeland of Métis people. We also acknowledge the traditional knowledge holders and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We pay our responsibility to all individuals, peoples, and honor their past, present, and future. We recognize and represent their cultural heritage and relationships to the land. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jubilee Wahltz, a celebration of Bill Wahl. Bill's connection to music emerged when he was knee-high to a grasshopper and has manifested many forms over his life, from musician to performer, educator, mentor, producer, and probably the most familiar to us as maestro. Bill's passion for community music started 40 years ago when he gathered together a group of brass players into a guild, and the spark was ignited that would grow into the Medicine Hat concert bands as we know them today. It is with great joy that we gather tonight to honor and celebrate Bill's illustrious career and his fiery passion that has spanned over 70 years. The music chosen for tonight's Jubilee is both familiar to and beloved by Bill and the community of musicians that has founded this and that has flourished under his direction. Bill will be joined this evening by fellow conductors and family members: Danielle Wahl, Bryant Wahl, and let us begin the celebration by inviting our conductors to the stage. Also, let me introduce to you the Andante Band. They will now perform great movie marches arranged by John Moss, conducted by Bryant Wahl. Frank Kelly's work, Simple Gifts, is composed of 4 shaker tunes. The final movement is based on the song Simple Gifts, a hymn that celebrates simplicity and humility. 'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the ballet of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and bend we will not be ashamed. To turn and turn will be our delight, till by turning, turning, we come round right. Bill would probably tell you that if he's played his part, the band would be so attuned to each other and the music that standing on the podium with a baton would be unnecessary. Being a director for Bill has always been about the band, the musicians. Praise and credit have always been channeled back to the group for their hard work and dedication. He's always encouraged the musicians to connect with the music and each other through their instruments and to share the story of the music with listeners. This next piece describes the magical experience of playing in one of Bill's bands. From the gift of learning an instrument, the pure simplicity of one individual playing one note, to the complexity of hundreds playing together, a synergy is found, and something truly complex and often unruly aligns. Individual by individual and note by note, the elements fall into place. Musicians and conductor meld. It is no longer a collection, but a whole, and it is a beautiful, simple gift. The Andante Band will now perform Simple Gifts by Frank Kelly with conductor Danielle. born in Barrhead, Alberta in 1947 to Carl and Bernice Wahl. He is the middle child of 3 boys. Music was prevalent in his house growing up. His grandfather and father were conductors of community bands. Other family members played instruments and sang in choirs. Bill was quite taken with all this music and used to play conductor. He would gather his brothers, cousins, neighborhood kids, and put them on the front lawn with music stands and use comic books as sheet music. He'd conduct them with whatever stick he could find for a baton. There's actually a photo of him conducting in your program here this evening. Air for Band was written showing Bill doing just that, conducting. Bill took up the euphonium around the age of 10 and played in the cadet band and received scholarships to participate in summer band camps. Education laboratory programs where students and teachers recruited young people from the community, and then they taught them on Saturday mornings. During the week, he would learn how to teach band and then put it into practice on the weekends. Bill had received a bursary from the Mesnet School District number 76 to complete his university education. So when Bill and Beth graduated, they chose to move south, and Bill began his conducting career in Medicine Hat. The year was 1970. Over the past 50-plus years, Bill has directed countless bands. School bands, honor bands, camp bands, community bands, pit bands, jazz bands, and orchestras. These bands were made up of thousands of musicians. Every experience as a conductor, educator, and musician has contributed to who he is today. Let us now welcome the maestro himself to the podium to conduct Air for Band by Frank Erickson. In 1982, Bill and a group of brass players Do you want to do this? In 1982, Bill and a group of brass players started the Medicine Brass Guild. After a few years, they welcomed woodwinds to join them, and the Medicine Community Band was born. The group has always strived to provide quality music for the community. Over the years, parents of students often expressed their desire to learn an instrument. In 2003, when Bill retired from teaching, he had the time and energy to start a beginner band, and the Adagio band was begun. Parents finally had an opportunity to dust off the forgotten flute at the back of the closet. A year later, there were two bands performing concerts: the Allegro, the original band, and Adagio, the new beginner band. As the Adagio band members improved and needed to be challenged, a third band, the Andante band, was created, and it eventually replaced the Adagio band. Throughout the years, the bands have performed in some amazing venues: City Hall, the Woolhawk Performing Arts Theatre at Crescent Heights High School, La Delta, and even the Windspear in Edmonton. In 2011, the Esplanade became their new home, and they've been holding 2 concerts a year there ever since. Audiences have been amazed by the Andante's improvement over the years. As Bill conducts Waltz No. 2 by Dmitri Shostakovich, arranged by James Kurnell, we invite you to sway with the music. There's an art to programming a concert. Bill learned this from his mentor, Harry Pynchon, that it's good to start with a march, put the challenging pieces in the middle, and end with something that will get the audience on their feet. When the bands start performing in the Esplanade, it presented an opportunity to gather more listeners together. It was way more fun to play to a full house than an empty one. Bill believes in the power of music and community. It was important to him to cast the band's net even wider by featuring guest musicians and performance groups in the concerts. And Bill was delighted that these guests expanded the band's reach and brought new audience members who have returned year after year to hear the bands and to see what wild and wonderful things Bill had planned. Bill's gregarious nature and disarming humor have always endeared him to his musicians. He loves to laugh, to play, as you can tell, to enjoy himself and the community of others. So much so, the term Billisms was coined by the band to refer to these moments of spontaneous fun. After years of watching concerts, Beth was never sure what antics might emerge. When Bill welcomed some of the masters of ceremony to introduce the music, Beth was able to relax and truly enjoy Bill in his element, leading the band. The MCs added a new level of entertainment, and the Medicine Hat concert band events have become a highlight for the community. Community bands everywhere want to know the magic formula for selling out the theaters. It's simple, right? We know it includes fantastic musicians, close-knit community, amazing music, and a phenomenal conductor. Now let's see what Billisms Brian has planned as he conducts Disco Lives, arranged by Johnny Vincent. this is where my part of the program gets a little complex. I got pieces stapled together here. Now take a brief intermission to reset the stage. You're invited to visit this place in the lobby and to sign the guest book, please. And we'll be back in a few minutes. Please welcome back our conductors. Before we begin the next part of our program, we have another little pause. Angela Barron, President, and Jeff Coley, Vice President of the Medicine and Concert Band Board of Directors, representing all the band members, would like to make a presentation.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. I want to start by extending our greatest thanks and appreciation to all of you who have chosen to spend this very special evening with us. For those of us who have played under the direction of Bill for many years, this Jubilee concert is an opportunity to relive and revive some of the songs that bring back fond memories. It is as special for us as it is for the Wahl family. And I know he introduced me, but I'm Angela Barron, and that's Jeff, my sidekick, Vice President. And before we make a special presentation to Bill tonight, I just want to very quickly give my greatest thanks to the other 7 members of the Society Board. Johanna Pieper, Melissa Eljo, Daniel Ellis, Patricia Dre, Will Nickel, Brittany Norman, and Cheryl Epp, along with our interim and soon-to-be permanent conductors, Mark Ward and Curtis Perrin, who have all worked tirelessly all year through the challenges of restarting under COVID-19, the conductor hiring process, and of course, the planning of this much-deserved concert for Bill this evening. I am honored and proud to work with such an amazing group of volunteers who took on this list of ambitious goals and did so with a smile on their faces. So thank you to all the board of directors. Privilege of thanking someone who brought many of us the opportunity to dust off our old high school instruments and begin playing music again. Now, personally, over the years, Bill has taught me many things, and some of these are Billisms, so I hope you get some of them. Such as staccato actually means less than and separated, and not loud and punchy, which is what we'll try to do. Whole notes are not supposed to overpower the melody and deserve the same care and sometimes more attention to shape them so they don't all sound the same and boring, as Greg says. That the saxophone is not the most important instrument in the band. Now, rock music, like, come on, I'm going to agree to disagree on that one. And it's not just about the notes. Imagining your loved ones and thinking back to a fond memory while playing can elevate a song from being just a song to something that evokes emotion in all those who hear it. And that's a very special Bill thing. Bill, the Medicine Hat Concert Band Society, may have started as a dream and a passion for you, but under your leadership and direction, it has become a home for musicians, both young and old, who can now continue to make music for generations to come. Thank you for making this possible. And on behalf of the board, I would like to wish you all the best as you move on to the next chapter in your life. We all look forward to having you drop into play and share a story or two from time to time. Congratulations.
Very well done. Thank you, Angela and Jeff. Before we begin the next program, I'd like you to recognize and welcome the Allegro Band. I'd like to do a little tune-up first. And before you, the Allegro Band of the Medicine Concert Band Society is considered the original band, and some musicians have been members since its inception. Would you like to raise your hands? It's the glue that holds everything together right there. This group is comprised of high-caliber musicians, the best of the best in Medicine Hat. Bill could see their potential many years ago and has challenged the musicality of this group by programming advanced literature pieces like Lincolnshire Posy by Percy Granger, the Holst Suites, Suite of Old American Dances by Robert Russell Bennett, Watchmen Tell Us of the Night by Mark Camphouse, to name a few. Playing demanding literature like this not only stretches a musician's technical ability, it also challenges them emotionally and mentally. It has always been important to Bill to challenge himself as a conductor. He has always approached his craft with curiosity, wonder, excitement, and enthusiasm. Bill has loved the experience of growing alongside the band. He expressed this in his own words. It's always dreaming, always having a way of trying to look beyond what you think is possible, because you never know when the impossible will become possible. And that's what it's all about. The Allegro's first piece this evening is Florentiner March by Julius Fuchik, edited by Frederick Fennell and conducted by Bryant. It's always been important to Bill to promote not only music and band, but also his beloved country. Bands led by Bill have performed all over the city and for countless functions, Remembrance Day ceremonies at the Cenotaph, King Cooley Park on Canada Day, the hospital lobby for Christmas, City Hall for civic events, and in various churches barreling down First Street on a parade float. During his 33 years as band teacher at Cousin Heights High School, he took his students on 7 European band tours, always proudly displaying the flags of Medicine Hat and Canada. The music always tells a story. It is inspired by an event or place or time. It's part of this storytelling that connects us as listeners to the music, the musicians, and each other. What better way to share his affection for Canada than commission a piece of music telling the story of amazing places that we call home. So for his retirement, teaching in 2003, his Cousin Heights High School Band Parents Association, along with the Medicine Hat Concert Band, commissioned Canadian Rhapsody and dedicated the piece to Mr. Bill. Mr. Elliot Del Borgo, the composer, researched Canadian songs and found 5 from various parts of Canada, even one from Alberta. We hope you enjoy Canadian Rhapsody by Elliot Del Borgo, conducted by Danielle. I would like to take this opportunity to invite Christine Bootland from the Alberta Music Education Foundation to speak.
Thank you very much. It gives me great pleasure to be here this evening to celebrate such a wonderful human being and great conductor. I am representing the Alberta Music Education Foundation, and we are here to present an award to Bill. We receive nominations from all over Alberta, and it is in recognition of the passion and great teaching that is going on. And it gives me immense pleasure, knowing Bill, that he was selected as this year's recipient. We are all about music education, and you can't have music education without fantastic educators who are passionate. The lovely lady beside me, Miss Dawn Leidy from AWIN Insurance Solutions Group, has come on board because they also believe we need to recognize these great teachers because they inspire future generations. And this lovely lady is going to hand out our award and our check to Bill to take to Calgary and have a wonderful time. We appreciate everything you do, and we love you.
Congratulations, Bill. Bill's contributions to music reach much further than Medicine Hat, Alberta, and after commissioning Canadian Rhapsody, more ideas came flooding into him. For his next project, he wanted to honor the Indigenous communities that are part of Medicine Hat's history and their traditional music. He researched the traditional First Nations melodies, which led him to the National Archives in Ottawa. He was able to find recordings on old wax cylinders, which he sent to composer Samuel Hazo. Sam then composed Drums of the Samus, which features the sounds of traditional tribal drums and wooden flute of the local Indigenous people. The piece takes us on a musical journey through the history of our region. This piece is played around the world. A band member was just in Hawaii and heard the band playing it on the street. Danielle and Bryant also heard it being played at a festival in Atlanta, Georgia. As the band were taking their seats in the audience after the performance, Danielle mentioned to the conductor that she was from Medicine Hat and that Bill was her dad. The students in the band applauded. They were excited to meet somebody from the Hat. There's one other story that somebody mentioned to me just now, that this piece that's been written by Sam Hazo and suggested by Bill is very, very popular around the world. So Allegro Band presents Drums of the Samus by Sam Hazo, conducted by Bryant. Smiling faces, you know they learned, they love to play, that's for sure. As Bill approached 75, the age he's always planned to put down his baton, you'd think he'd start to run out of ideas, but the opposite was true. He had so many concepts and plans for concerts he wanted to put on in the last few years of his career. One concert that the bands were in the middle of preparing when the pandemic began was a sunset ceremony to commemorate VE Day. The concert was to be held at the airport hangar, and what a concert it would have been. Music ranging from marches to big band, special guests, cannons, and an actual airplane. It was a huge disappointment to Bill and the bands that the concert was canceled, but they're excited to share one of their favorites from the program, Glenn Miller in concert. This is bound to make some toes tap. There's also an opportunity for some audience participation. Let's practice. When you hear the bell ringing, we invite you to join in by saying, Pennsylvania 6 by 1,000.
Let's all try it.
Pennsylvania 6 by 1,000.
That's smarter.
No, that's good.
We now invite you to tap your toes to Glenn Miller in concert, arranged by Paul Murtha, conducted by Danielle. This next piece of music was inspired by a poem, It Is Well With My Soul, written by Horatio G. Spafford out of pure sorrow and undefinable grief after losing his daughters in a tragic death. Composer Philip Bliss was so moved by this poem, he was compelled to write the hymn tune that the band will shortly play. This piece exemplifies the power of music to manifest the complexity of emotion that we experience as human beings. In Bill's own words, he states, "I have wrestled with the question of what makes music so important that not to share the love of it would be committing the unthinkable. I've continued to try and put into words the inexplicable joy and sorrow one feels when music envelops us in pure emotion. As you listen, you will feel the hope and possibility of love between a father and his young daughters, and simultaneously feel the undercurrent of sorrow and melancholy now tethered to his heart. As so many of us have experienced throughout our lives, celebrations like these can be a mixture of so many emotions: joy, gratitude, pride, fear, and sadness. Several years ago, Bill started experiencing the initial symptoms of dementia. Dementia affects brain function and is a slow unraveling. It is an ever-evolving condition that demands constant adaptation. It introduces an increasing instability and questions the individual's identity and abilities. It requires care and compassion. Celebrating the immense joy that Bill has experienced as a conductor, and in the same breath, acknowledging the effects of his dementia, takes grace, courage, and humor. Oh, so much humor. Choosing to retire from conducting the band has also been an incredibly difficult decision, and through it all, Bill continues to face whatever life throws him with hope, knowing it is well with his soul. Bryant?
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul.
We invite Bill to conduct one of his favorite pieces of music on a hymn song of Philip Bliss by David Holsinger. to invite daughters Nicole and Monique to the podium to pay tribute to Bill's wife, Beth.
It's a tough one to follow.
Bear with us. Dad's antics aren't the only thing that makes Mom a bit uncomfortable in her audience seat. She is truly an incredible person, but has never had the desire to live in the spotlight. She'd prefer to be the person that makes sure there's a light, that it's working properly, and that it's shining in the right direction.
She'd say tonight is all about Dad, but we know that's not true. In our humble opinion, to not pay tribute to her would be to disregard the lifelong commitment that she has also made to music.
In our house, music wasn't just Dad's thing. Some of our earliest childhood memories are of Mom singing to us. She's often humming or whistling, and rumor has it she even played the accordion at some point in her youth. Music was woven into almost every part of our family life.
Quantifying Dad's contribution to music is challenging, and trying to quantify Mom's role is equally as difficult. While Dad was drawing out the good in his musicians and focusing on creating an environment for musical growth, Mom, on the other hand, was creating the same environment within the Wahl household for us. She was drawing out the good in all of us, kids, and Dad too.
We may think of Dad as the director, but when we reflect back at the complexity of conducting the goings-on in our house throughout our childhood, and long beyond that, you can't deny that we were raised by two truly gifted directors. She created the space that provided Dad the opportunity to learn and grow into the conductor he has become.
She has been Dad's partner through it all, his collaborator, his voice of reason, and his trusted advisor. She has provided the nudge to reach a bit farther when needed, and has always been a safe place to land. She has been steadfast in her unwavering support and confidence in Dad's potential and gifts.
We won't literally shine the house lights on you tonight, Mom, but we stand here to acknowledge the lifelong commitment that you made to giving Dad, our family, and this community everything you possibly could so that we could achieve all that we have. You are exceptional, and thank you.
Where is she? All right. She's good at it. The Allegro Band has one more piece this evening before both bands join for the grand finale. It is Hoedown from Rodeo by Aaron Copeland, arranged by John Moss, conducted by Bryant. piece was one of Beth's favorites. The Allegro band has had their say now, and we're going to have a short break. Sorry about that, but it's just going to be a short one for both bands to perform together in the final tribute to Bill. You're invited to stand up, stretch your legs, check your phones, but don't go away. Thank you, audience, for your patience. We're preparing for the grand finale. Music is a fundamental part of the Wahl family culture and lineage. The earliest Wahl conductor that the family knows of is Bill's great-grandfather, Karl Wahl, a blacksmith from Poland, who conducted a community band. He was followed by his son, Wilhelm Wahl, Bill's grandfather, a Lutheran minister who moved to Alberta and also led a community band. Karl Wahl, Bill's father, also directed cadet bands and community bands. Then came Bill. His eldest daughter, Danielle, yes, the first female in the lineage, chose to take up conducting. And her son, Bryant, even though his grandpa and grandma always told him he could do anything he wanted, studied conducting. If you lost count, that's 6 generations. When Bill finished university, he was presented with a baton, a family baton, if you will, from his grandfather. He would like to take the opportunity tonight to pass this baton on to the next generations of the family. And what a perfect piece in which to do that. We give you Generations Fanfare by Otto M. Schwartz, conducted by all 3 of our conductors. 2 Obi-Wan Kenobis, and Princess Leia. I would like to invite daughter Danielle to say a few words of thanks.
Before the bands play their final piece, Dad and our family would like to thank those who have been instrumental in making this concert happen, specifically the Medicine Hat Concert Band Society, the band executive, the concert committee, Don Davis, and the incredible musicians of the Andante and Allegro bands. People have been by our family's side through thick, thin, and high waters. When the call went out for help during the flood of 2013, it was the band community who showed up with trucks, hauled furniture, and stored items in their garages. You give new meaning to the phrase band together. We wish the Medicine Hat Concert Band Society every success in the future. We especially want to acknowledge the support that Curtis Perrin and Mark Ward have provided to Dad and our family over the last few difficult years. Both Curtis and Mark have walked alongside Dad, and it has been clear that they only ever wanted what is best for him. We are so very grateful. Like to thank those who are here today. Some have traveled from far and wide as colleagues for taking the time to attend the concert or play in the band, and for all the recognition over the years. Dad is so very grateful for having had the chance to make music or play with all the wonderful musicians who have sat on the other side of his baton. And we're actually really curious, if you have ever played in one of Bill's bands, could you please stand up? Dad said when he retired the first time, he was going to house clean, that sometimes we have to clear out things so that what remains is the important stuff. For Dad, the musicians, the audience, and his family are the important stuff. Teaching and conducting all the bands he has had the opportunity to work with over his career has been one of the great joys of his life. To quote Dad, "I'm so happy that I went into music education. I think without music, many of us would not feel as if life was complete, without being able to either play or sing or be part of some sort of musical organization. And it's just been a dream job and a dream life so far." So thank you to all of the musicians and to the audience for being a part of this Jubilee Wahltz.
The Music Man tells a story of a traveling salesman who swindles folks out of their good money by teaching music using the think system. You think about the song you want to play and then you play it, if only it were that easy. Bill's aptitude for music may run through his veins, but he also knows it takes hard work to hone a skill. He has dedicated his career providing the right tools, skills, support, and encouragement to foster an environment for musicians to grow. The evidence of which has been clear year after year. Bill has moved over 1 million music stands and chairs, been an equipment roadie for hundreds of concerts, sold countless boxes of candy, semi-truck loads of oranges, apples, grapefruit, cookie dough, and spices. Mr. Safeway. He has kissed the ground 7 times after counting the noses of students arriving back home safely from 7 international trips. He's had to convince 6 different school principals of the merits of a vital band program, and has said, play a concert A natural, an unnatural number of times. Can you play a concert A natural? Beautiful. He has spent countless evenings and weekends back in the boardroom. Band room, not boardroom. After an incredibly rewarding career teaching the youth of Medicine Hat the joy of music, Bill chose to use his retirement to develop a multi-level community band program to give the adults in our city the same opportunity. Bill's commitment to continued growth and his passion for sharing his love of music, for teaching people how to play, for developing musicians of any age or level of ability has been an immeasurable gift to our community. Although Bill will no longer stand at the helm of our bands, his gifts will remain with us always. So thank you, Bill, for sharing with us your love of music. One of the songs. So thank you, Bill, for sharing with us your love of music. One of the songs from The Music Man sums up our feelings about Bill. As Justine Wilkes will sing for us shortly, there was love all around, but we never heard it singing. No, we never heard it at all, till there was you. The final piece of the evening is Highlights from The Music Man by Meredith Wilson, arranged by Alfred Reed. The guest soprano is Justine Wilkes, conducted by Bryant, Danielle, and Bill. announcement. We invite you all to gravitate to the lobby and visit with Bill's family and with Bill himself. And keep in mind the next concert, which is going to be late November, early December. See you then.